Have you noticed it too? That something about this month feels different, like you're standing on the edge of something invisible, but massive. There's a reason for that. August 5th isn't a coincidence. It's a scheduled turning point. For the chosen ones, this day holds more than just energy shifts. It holds instruction, an activation, a remembering. Everything you've endured, the silence, the restlessness, the timing that never seemed quite right, was leading here. You didn't miss your moment. It wasn't too late. It was always meant to begin now, and your soul already knows what to do. The date hidden in your destiny. Not all dates carry the same weight. Some pass like wind, others linger, not because of what happens, but because of what's meant to happen. August 5th is that kind of day. It may not be on headlines or written in any calendar with red circles, but your body, your heart, your dreams, they know. Something is about to start that was placed long ago in the map of your soul. You may have noticed strange things lately, waking at odd times, remembering forgotten people, old feelings bubbling up without a trigger. That's not random. That's alignment. A deep internal system inside you, older than this lifetime, is responding. You're not imagining the shifts. You're not being dramatic. You're remembering. The chosen ones don't wait for signs. They are the sign. But still, on certain dates, even your silence hums with a kind of readiness. This week feels like standing on the threshold of a room you don't remember building. Yet somehow, you have the key. That's August 5th. It's not a climax. It's an ignition. You may not see fireworks. It might not be loud. But something very real begins. A subtle but permanent turning inward, then forward. You'll notice your decisions carry more weight. Conversations feel different. The world feels more awake, not because it changed, but because you did. And this isn't about astrology or ritual. This is about soul timing, appointments you made with yourself before you arrived here. Promises you whispered into the thread of time, trusting that your future self would hear them. And now, the echo has reached you. You won't need to try hard to know it's real. Because when a date is hidden in your destiny, you feel it from the inside out. When silence becomes a signal, there's a kind of silence that isn't empty. It's full of messages you can't hear with your ears, but you feel them press against your thoughts like a soft breath. That's the silence many chosen ones are walking through right now. Not loneliness, something else. A sacred stillness before the mission begins. This week, that silence may grow. You might find yourself pulling away from noise, even from people you love. It's not rejection, it's preparation. Your soul is making space, not to rest, but to receive. And what's coming isn't found in more words. It's found in the space between them. Sometimes the most important guidance arrives not through vision or voice, but in a sudden knowing that appears out of nowhere. In silence, these knowings rise like mist from a lake. And August 5th, it's the lake. This date will hold stillness like a bowl holds water, deep, reflective, and holding truth for those who are still enough to look. You may notice things around you feel quieter too. Even the noise doesn't reach you the same way. That's because you're shifting frequencies. You're tuning into a wavelength that most people aren't listening for. It's not superiority, it's sensitivity. And this silence? It's a hallway between worlds. You're not broken for craving more quiet. You're not weak for needing stillness. You're aligning. You're preparing for something precise. Something that's never needed noise to arrive. Something that's always waited for you to hear what's been said in silence all along. And maybe the signal isn't what enters your silence. Maybe it's what leaves when the silence becomes deep enough to reveal it. The energy gate that opens only once. Some opportunities aren't repeatable, not because they're rare, but because they're coded, designed to arrive only once for a specific person at a specific moment, when the soul is aligned just enough to recognize it. August 5th opens that kind of gate. You may not see a dramatic shift outside you, but inside, you'll feel it, like a subtle click in your chest, like standing near an open door and sensing the air shift, cooler, brighter, charged with possibility. It's not a push, it's a pull. And if you walk through, you'll never be quite the same again. This gate isn't about achievement or success. It's about alignment. It's the kind of opening that allows you to become more of who you actually are, not in fragments, but in full. And once you step through it, old roles fall away. You may feel exposed, but you'll also feel real. The chosen ones feel these energetic gates with more intensity. You might dream more vividly, or feel sudden waves of emotion that come and go with no story. That's the soul processing the invitation, clearing space for the new mission to download. Because gates don't open to anyone still trying to carry the old world with them. What makes this gate so special is its timing. It's not just about where you are, it's about when you are. August 5th holds a convergence, an intersection between cosmic rhythm and personal readiness. You won't get this exact doorway again, but that's what makes it sacred. And isn't it wild? How sometimes the biggest gates look like quiet little choices. Why you've been feeling disconnected lately. Lately, some of you have felt a strange numbness. Like the things that once moved you now feel far away. That isn't failure. That's not regression. That's recalibration. The soul sometimes quiets the old to make space for what's about to begin. And that silence can feel like disconnection. It's confusing, isn't it? You expected the beginning of your mission to feel loud, like lightning, like clarity. But instead, it's soft, barely a whisper. You wonder if you missed it, or if you've somehow drifted off course. But the truth is, your system has been preparing in the background. Imagine a symphony being tuned, discord at first, then quiet, then finally, harmony. You're in that middle place, where nothing seems to match, yet everything is stretching toward alignment. The disconnection you feel isn't emptiness, it's transition. And transitions rarely come dressed as joy. Chosen ones often confuse this stage for burnout. But what's really happening is inner sorting. The energy you used to pour into old roles, identities, relationships, it's being rerouted. But before it can be used in new ways, it must pass through stillness, through a temporary void. That's where you are. This disconnect is also protection. You've been shielded from lower frequencies as your system adjusts. That's why you might feel outside of things lately, not because you're lost, but because you're being moved, and you can't pack everything from your old life into the next chapter. And maybe the disconnection isn't something to fix. Maybe it's your soul asking for silence before it speaks something brand new. The sacred assignment, hidden in delay. We curse delay. We assume that what's late is broken. But there's a different story beneath it, one the soul knows by heart. Delay isn't denial. It's timing. And sometimes, it's protection. What you've been waiting for hasn't been waiting for you. It's been waiting with you. This mission, your mission, didn't start late. It started now, because now is the only moment your soul could carry it. Anything earlier, and it would have crushed you. Or worse, you'd have rushed ahead wearing a version of yourself that wasn't ready to carry the weight of what's coming. Think about how many things didn't work out, and how much pain those failures saved you from. You didn't miss the path. You avoided false ones. That isn't failure. That's wisdom dressed as frustration. And this week, all those delays may begin to make sense. The chosen ones are often given detours that don't feel divine until much later. You've walked the long road. You've been patient, even when you weren't. You kept showing up. And what you thought was postponement was actually placement. You were being positioned by something much wiser than your own desire. The assignment that begins now has layers. It carries a gentleness you didn't have the capacity to hold before. It carries a voice you wouldn't have trusted before. And now you are not just willing, you are ready. Isn't it strange how the things that took longest often end up being the most sacred? Now that the silence is revealing its signal and the delays are starting to make sense, the next layers go even deeper. Ahead in this video, we'll explore the ancient echo of a promise you made before this lifetime, the shift that happens not in sound, but in stillness, and the way your mission will find you, whether you're ready or not. There's a pulse moving through this week, and it's calling something ancient forward in you, the clock that's been counting without your knowing. There's a strange feeling that comes with divine timing, as if something has been ticking quietly in the background of your life, waiting. You didn't see the clock, you didn't hear it, but it was always there, counting down to a moment that only your soul could sense. August 5th feels like one of those moments, like a bell finally striking a time you never knew you were preparing for. Not because it's loud, but because it lands in your body like a final piece of something you've been building without instructions. Maybe you've noticed it, a sudden urgency in your spirit, even though nothing has changed externally. Or a strange peace, like a deep breath before stepping onto a path that feels both new and oddly familiar. That's the countdown ending, and the remembering beginning. The chosen ones are not given alarms. They're given inner clocks. That means you often feel like something is coming long before it arrives. That inner ticking creates pressure, confusion, even impatience. But when the moment finally lands, it all becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes purpose. What's wild is, the external world may see nothing, but within you, time splits. One part stays in the old story, the other steps forward, and from that moment on, no matter what you do, you're moving differently. Some clocks chime in sound, others chime in silence, and only the soul hears it. August 5th, the alignment you agreed to before birth. You weren't sent here without a plan. You didn't just fall into this life. There were agreements made, not in words, but in vibration. Your soul signed up for a mission and set certain alignments in place to activate it. One of them is August 5th. This date wasn't picked by chance. It was marked in light long before your birth. A moment in linear time when the frequency of your surroundings would match something deep inside you. Not to change you, but to wake you up to who you've always been underneath the noise. You might not consciously remember agreeing to this, but your body does. That's why your emotions have been stronger, your sleep deeper or more disturbed, your sense of purpose flickering on and off like a light bulb about to stabilize. Something is syncing. Something is aligning. The chosen ones often carry spiritual amnesia early in life, not to punish, but to protect. It keeps the mission hidden until you're strong enough to carry the truth of it. And now, the veil is thinning. The agreement is activating. You are being invited to remember, not the mission details, but the essence behind it. You won't be told exactly what to do, but you'll feel it. Certain doors will glow brighter. Certain choices will feel lighter. That's how the mission begins. Not in orders, but in inner compass realignment. And once it starts, there's no going back. Isn't it beautiful? How you can forget something for decades. And then one day it just clicks. The echo of a promise you made long ago. Sometimes you hear a whisper in your own chest, a feeling you can't explain, like something inside you is waiting for you to keep a promise you don't fully remember making. That's the soul, echoing a vow spoken long before you had a voice in this world. August 5th carries that kind of echo. For some, it comes through dreams. For others, through a sudden clarity that feels more like remembering than learning. It's not new information. It's ancient. It's yours. And it's ringing louder now. You might feel this as restlessness or as a deep call to simplify your life. Or you may begin to say no to things you used to tolerate without knowing why. That's not rebellion. That's the echo realigning your decisions with something you promised to become. The chosen ones don't just carry purpose. They carry agreements. Energetic bonds to timelines, people, and possibilities. Not all will remain. Some were only meant to prepare you, but one thread remains glowing. And August 5th is where that thread starts to pull again. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You don't even need to fully understand it. Just follow the parts of your life that feel most alive when you lean into them. That aliveness is how the promise remembers you. Some echoes don't bounce off walls. They bounce off time and return when you're finally ready to answer. The strange calm before your soul moves. There's a silence that comes before a soul shifts, not because it's empty, but because it's holding its breath. That's the strange calm many chosen ones are feeling right now. Everything looks the same, but something underneath has already begun to change. You might find yourself staring out windows more, or pausing mid-thought, or standing in the middle of a room unsure of why you walked in. That's your spirit recalibrating. It's not distraction. It's a pause before propulsion. This kind of calm isn't peace. It's presence. You're standing at the edge of something you can't name yet, but your system knows it's close. The heart beats slower. The nervous system softens, not from exhaustion, but from trust. The chosen ones are often guided this way, not with pressure, but with presence. Not with urgency, but with undeniable stillness. And that stillness, it's the final exhale before the soul takes a new breath and moves. Don't be surprised if people around you can't sense it, or if they misinterpret your stillness as hesitation. They're not meant to feel it. This moment isn't public. It's sacred, and it's yours alone to step through. Stillness isn't always a pause. Sometimes, it's momentum gathering in disguise. Why you had to be ready now, not sooner. We often think we're late, that we should have done more, become more, arrived sooner. But there's something wiser moving beneath your timing. And it's no accident that your mission didn't begin last year or 5 years ago. It had to begin now. You weren't behind. You were becoming. All the stumbles, the silence, the healing you didn't ask for. That was preparation. You were growing your roots deeper while others bloomed early. But now it's your turn to bloom with depth, not just color. The chosen ones don't start early. They start right. The path waits until you've shed just enough, softened just enough, seen just enough to begin without illusion. That's why it took this long. Not because you failed, but because you grew differently. Think of it this way. A candle flickers fast, but a lantern holds steady. You're not here to flicker. You're here to hold light for others. And that kind of light doesn't come quick. It comes through slow, invisible work, and now that work is showing. August 5th isn't just a beginning. It's a signal that your foundation is strong enough now to build something real on top of it. Something lasting, something true, and maybe the only reason it took this long is because what you're about to carry was never meant to be rushed. So now we stand at the edge of something sacred, not rushed, not forced, but arriving right on time. Ahead in this video, we'll step into what happens when spirit finally stops whispering and starts calling, when the universe leans in to listen, and how your mission might actually find you before you even take the first step. There's more to reveal, and the next few moments may change how you see everything leading up to now. When spirit stops whispering and starts calling, there's a shift that happens when spirit no longer waits in the background. At first, you hear it like a whisper, soft, indirect, easy to overlook. But then, something changes. The whisper becomes a pull, a weight, a calling that doesn't ask, it summons. You may feel this now as an undeniable nudge, a thought that won't leave you, a task that keeps appearing in dreams, conversations, or symbols. You try to brush it off, but it returns, not to bother, but to guide. Because when spirit starts calling, it no longer waits for perfect conditions. The chosen ones aren't called loudly because they're more special. They're called loudly because they've learned how to listen. And once you hear the call, even if you don't yet understand it, your soul starts shifting toward it, like a compass pulled by a hidden field. You might feel nervous. That's natural. The calling always comes with risk. It pulls you toward unknowns, discomfort, shedding. But the ache of not answering it is worse. That ache is the soul's signal. Something important is being asked of you now. What's being asked isn't perfection. It's presence, not a polished performance, but a simple yes. The call doesn't want a hero. It wants a vessel. And you, in all your imperfection, are enough. Sometimes the most powerful sound is the one that doesn't leave you alone. The moment the universe leans in. There are moments when it feels like the universe is listening a little closer, not casually, not from afar, but intimately, as if every step you take is being watched, not with judgment, but with love. This week holds one of those moments. You may sense it in small things. A thought instantly answered by a sign, a person showing up just as you're thinking of them, or a peace that lands without explanation. That's the universe leaning in, paying attention, responding to even your subtlest shifts in energy. The chosen ones tend to feel this more than others. Because your path is woven with purpose, your movement creates ripples. When you breathe with intention, it echoes. When you choose love in the face of fear, something bends around you, not by force, but by resonance. In this space, manifestation becomes faster, insights arrive clearer, but it's not a reward, it's alignment. When you start moving in the direction of your original design, the universe doesn't need to push you. It meets you. It walks with you, step by step. You may feel it like warm stillness, or like gravity shifting. A presence you can't explain, but can't deny. That's not your imagination. That's your reality becoming more fluid, more responsive, because you're no longer resisting your place in it. And maybe, just maybe, this time, the universe isn't waiting for your request. It's waiting for your readiness. How your mission will find you first. We're taught to chase purpose, to find it like a prize hidden in the distance. But the truth is, when it's real, when it's soul aligned, your mission finds you. It shows up on your doorstep when you're not even sure you're prepared. That's what this week holds. Not just an invitation to begin, but a meeting. Something, a task, a person, an opportunity may appear with uncanny timing. You won't feel ready, but that's how you'll know it's meant for you. The real mission never waits until we feel strong. It shows up when we feel true. The chosen ones often realize they've been preparing for their mission long before they could name it. The books they read, the pain they survived, the instincts they never understood, all of it was shaping the vessel that would one day say yes. You won't need to chase it, but you will need to recognize it, and that recognition will come with a strange mixture of fear and familiarity, the sense that you've been here before, and yet never quite like this. Once the mission lands, life rearranges, people exit, resources appear, old priorities fall away. That's not disruption, that's calibration. The mission doesn't just ask for your attention, it redefines it. And maybe the real question isn't, what is my mission? But what part of me is finally ready to be seen? The activation. Hidden in a small decision. Sometimes the grandest shift begins in the smallest choice. A yes whispered at a crossroads. A boundary spoken softly. A truth finally lived instead of explained. August 5th holds that kind of choice for many of you. You might overlook it at first. It won't arrive in lightning. It'll arrive in a gentle tug, to call someone, to start something, to end something. That tiny act might feel minor in the moment, but it unlocks something massive within you. It's not about the action, it's about the alignment. The chosen ones are masters of energetic thresholds. Even before the world shifts, you feel the ripple inside. This week, that ripple might ask you to choose what feels just slightly uncomfortable. Not wrong, but real. That slight discomfort. That's your power waking up. You don't need a big stage to activate your purpose. You need honesty. You need presence. And one small decision, made with love, not fear, can realign your entire trajectory. These moments never look important until hindsight, but the soul knows. It's like unlocking a door you forgot existed. A path that was always waiting behind it begins to light up. Not all at once, but step by step, with every decision that feels like truth. Sometimes the biggest spiritual activations begin with the words, "I'm finally ready to live like I mean it." Why the world needs your yes now. It's easy to think the world needs something bigger, policies, changes, leaders. And while all that has its place, the truth is simpler and far more sacred. The world needs your yes, your real, soul-backed, embodied, unshakable yes. You might ask, what can I do? But it's not about what you can do. It's about who you are when you're fully alive, fully aligned, fully awake. Your energy, when anchored in truth, creates ripples you'll never fully see. And right now, those ripples are urgently needed. The chosen ones didn't come here to fix everything. You came here to remember. And in doing so, you remind others. Your yes isn't just a personal awakening. It's a frequency upgrade that affects everyone near you, often without a word. The world is full of noise. But what cuts through it? A human who has returned to themselves. A human who says yes to living their mission, even in quiet ways, even when trembling. That kind of yes is rare and holy. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're exactly what this moment has been asking for. Not in perfection, but in presence. That's the yes the world is waiting on. And perhaps the most world-changing act isn't a revolution, but a soul whispering, "I'm ready now." The choice that awakens dormant power. Some choices don't just move your life forward, They awaken something ancient inside you, a version of yourself that's been waiting, resting, preparing in silence. And when you finally say yes to the deeper calling, that dormant part opens its eyes. This week, you may face one of those choices. It may look ordinary. It may even scare you. But there's something in it that feels alive, charged. You'll recognize it by how your body responds. A skip in the breath, a subtle warmth in the chest, a strange quiet around your thoughts. That's not hesitation, that's awakening. The chosen ones were never meant to stay small, but expansion requires an ignition, something that stirs what has been hidden. You won't need to try to awaken it, you only need to choose in alignment. The rest rises like instinct, like fire remembering its flame. This kind of power isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It steadies you. It gives you courage without explanation. And suddenly, the things that once felt impossible now feel obvious. Not because the world changed, but because you did.